For well over 30 years now, the United States military has been intensively involved, intensively engaged in various quarters of the Islamic world. And clearly, an end to that involvement is nowhere in sight. Tick off the countries in that region that U.S. forces in recent decades have invaded, occupied, garrisoned, bombed, or raided, and where American soldiers have killed or been killed. Since 1980, and as Chris suggested, that's the date when I begin my story. Since 1980, they include Iraq and Afghanistan, of course, but also Iran, Lebanon, Libya, Turkey, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Bosnia, Kosovo, Yemen, Sudan, Somalia, Pakistan, and Syria. And the list just keeps on getting longer. Now, to judge by the various official explanations coming out of Washington, the mission of the U.S. troops dispatched to these various quarters has been to defend or deter or liberate, punishing the wicked and protecting the innocent, while spreading liberal values and generally making Americans safe. What are we to make of the larger enterprise in which the United States has been engaged now for well over 3 decades? What is the nature of the military struggle that we are waging? More fundamentally, what should we call it? For several years after 9/11, Americans referred to it as the global war on terrorism, an ill-chosen term that has now long since fallen out of favor. For a brief period, during the early years of the George W. Bush administration, certain neoconservatives promoted the term World War IV. In this construct, the Cold War had been World War III. But this never caught on, in part, I think, because unlike other major 20th century conflicts, this one found the American people sitting on the sidelines. With interventions in Iraq and Afghanistan dragging on inconclusively, some military officers in the middle of the last decade began referring to what they called the Long War. And while nicely capturing the temporal dimension of the conflict, this label had nothing to say about purpose, adversary, or location. And as with World War IV, the Long War never gained much traction. Here's another possibility. Since 1980, back when President Jimmy Carter promulgated the Carter Doctrine, the United States has been engaged in what we should rightfully call America's war for the greater Middle East.